So I wanted to do a story time because I think I kind of hinted towards it the other day on one of my vlogs. And I said that I said something, and I said I would tell the story when I found the receipts. Well, I found the receipts. I can't turn it around and show you, but I will take a snapshot, cover up my address, and I'm going to come to this when I need to show proof. So anyways, this is a story that I want to tell. When the children were in elementary school, in this town, the elementary schools were on track. So they had A, B, C, and D track. D track was the closest to the traditional holidays that the schools would get. So of course, every parent wanted their kids to be on D track. So we had to fight to get my kids in there on D track. So Joshua started first, of course. He went through from kindergarten. He got some really superb and superb teachers until he got to 5th grade, where he got this dude that was ex-military. So he taught kind of militarized. And so a lot of the Mexican parents just said, oh, he's just strict. You know, don't worry, he's just strict. Well, Joshua came home. He was having a lot of trouble with math. And I went in to go check. And of course, he wasn't really teaching the math. So I would have to go over there and like reteach the math in the morning times when the kids were in class. Well, when they were lining up to go into class. It eventually got to the point where they put me on this math committee, where I was the only parent amongst all teachers that had to choose the math book that the children would use for like the next 10 years. That's how bad it got, because they knew that I knew math and I was teaching the math correctly, because I was teaching the British way, what I learned in Belize, because they do LCM a little bit different over here, and it's kind of hard for me to grasp it. But the way that I learned to do it in Belize was easier to teach, easier for the kids to catch, right? So when Joshua came home one day and he said, Mom, my teacher is a pervert. And I said, what do you mean? And so he says, when we're supposed to hand our homework in, he's got a big desk that he sits behind. The boys have to go in front of the desk and hand him the homework, but the girls have to come beside the desk, and then he would feel them up under their skirts. And I said, what? And he says, yeah, and another thing, what he does, he thinks he's slick, Mom. He would get in front of the class and call a girl out to show the girl something on the whiteboard or whatever, and then he would pull her dress like this, her shirt. Why do I have a chain? Her shirt like this, and peek inside her shirt through the top. And he says he thinks that that's normal because he's doing it in the middle of the class. But we know different. We know he's a perv. And so I'm sad to say that my response to Joshua was, you know what, shut your mouth. As long as he's not touching you, who cares? And why I responded that way is because I had a lot of trouble in the school system, because we were like 1 or 2 blacks there, and it was a lot of Hispanics. And for the most part, Hispanics will teach their kids to respect authority and don't question the teacher as to what he's doing. And so they didn't stand with us. Whenever there was any kind of fight over curriculum, these people never stood with us. So I decided I'm not going to stand with them. That was my thought process. I have my own battles to fight, and why get involved in their battles, right? So Joshua finished out 5th grade by the skin of his teeth. And then Jory was supposed to be going into 4th grade because the boys are 2 years apart. Well, that year they decided on that track that this same teacher was going to teach 4 and 5 combined. I was like, oh God, I'm just done with him now with 5th grade for Joshua. Now I have to have this same man again for Jory for 4th grade. So I try to gird up my loins and go in there and just like be positive, kind of like what they want you now to do that Trump said. Be positive, let's do. No. So I pulled it together, and Jory started off in this man's class, started to do poorly in math. Jory was always an exceptional student in math. So we went and started to question it, me and one of the other moms, which is a friend of mine. I'm not going to call her name. So when we went to go check into it, we realized that the man was teaching the 4th graders 5th grade math. And that's a no-no. If you're teaching a combined class, you have to know how to separate these kids at the core curriculum, and then you just do certain classes that are combined with them, right? So we started to hit that hard because we couldn't hit the molestation thing because our kids weren't getting molested and these parents weren't standing up for their kids. So finally, a girl that was in 5th grade came to me and my friend and said, the teacher is touching me and I don't want to be touched. And she started to explain what Ollie was doing. So we told her to go tell your mom. Well, this mom was illiterate. It wasn't as English as a second language. She couldn't read or write any language. And so the little kid wasn't getting any way. So she went and told the principal. Now, the principal looked like that man from Little House on the Prairie. Remember Nellie's dad? Real easygoing and a pushover. The vice principal was more bombastic. And she was a woman. So, of course, when the girl told the principal passed it off to the vice principal because that's the kind of stuff she's supposed to handle. So she comes out to me one day when I went to the school and she says, I need to see you in my office. Now, my kids were never problem kids, okay? So they went in, except for Jada one time when she kicked the boy. Remember?
I beat that.
Yeah, we're going to tell that story after. But that was way after. So I went in and the vice principal said, you need to talk to Jory for him to tell us the truth because he doesn't want to speak to us. He doesn't want to tell us the truth. And I said, the truth about what? And then she said, this little girl came in and said that the teacher is touching her and that Jory is the eyewitness. So I asked Jory, why did he not want to tell the truth, right? And I told her, I said, this has been going on since my other son was in 5th grade. Nobody cared, and so she's all like, well, we didn't know what was going on. Well, in truth, we didn't report it, right? So I told Jory that he had my permission to tell the truth. And afterwards, we asked him, why didn't he want to tell the truth? But that movie Shaft had just been remade. And Jory says, he said a line from that movie. He said, the eyewitness in America always ends up getting killed. So I don't want to be an eyewitness. And so you could tell he was watching grown-up movies already. So the vice principal says, no, I'll protect you. So he told the truth. And lo and behold, the next day, the vice principal went and told the teacher who were the eyewitnesses. There were 2 eyewitnesses. The other boy did not have to be put in the mix as an eyewitness, my friend's son. But because Jory was in, she put up his name and said he saw too. He should have shut his mouth and he wouldn't have been in this dilemma, right? So anyways, the next day, when I got to the school, the vice principal was looking for me because me and my friend, we would never leave right away. And she says, I'm sorry, but I had to tell him who were the eyewitnesses and he's looking for your son on the playground. Well, I started to run back there. I don't know what I would have done to beat that man, but I would have beat that man because even though he was ex-military, he had something wrong with him. I don't know if he had the DTs, the drunk DTs, or if he had Parkinson's, but he was always having tremors. So I would have beat him to the ground. So I snatched my kid. I took him home. And I kept him out of school for 1 week, and my friend kept her son out too. And I said, I'm not bringing my son back until you guys can guarantee me that you can protect him. So they finally had to change Jory off a track D to a different track. So that sucked for me because now the kids were all on different vacation times. So that was my inconvenience because my son spoke up and told the truth, right? When he was forced to. So then they investigated the teacher. He would start going to whoever Jory had for a 4th grade teacher. She was a really, really sweet lady. And she wasn't the kind of teacher that would hang out in the teacher's lounge and stuff. So she was wondering why this man was coming to her door to talk to her all of a sudden. I said, he's coming there to intimidate Jory. And I had to go tell her what was going on because they had forbidden me to tell anybody what was going on. Well, when the stuff was going on and we were getting just attacked from every angle, the parents would meet me in the supermarket and they would say, why are you going against the teacher? He's a good teacher. He's just strict. And I'm like, you don't know what he's doing. It's not just about the curriculum. We had to attack it from the point of the curriculum, of course, right? Because he was molesting our kids. I think I said that before. And I told the parents what was going on and only a few of them would believe. And one of them was a guy and he believed, and he got on the PTA board with me and my friend. And we started to try to make some really good changes there at the school. So they investigated this man from, let me tell you what date, February the 7th, 2001, right up to August the 6th, 2001 before they brought the report. This is the receipt that I'm going to show you. I'm going to cover my address and we're going to read together, okay? It says, regarding the complaint report closing of uniform complaint, dear Miss Greenwich, like they don't even know that I was married, right? This letter is written to inform you that a uniform complaint report has been finalized and signed by me on August the 6th, 2001, based on your complaint of February 7, 2001. I'm going to have to go see who's the me that signed this. Let me go check the back page. Martin T. Sawyer, J.D., Administrative Services Officer, whoever the hell he was. And he goes, the report is based on information supplied by you, independent witnesses, and documents provided by all parties. The report substantiates the allegations that the respondent failed to provide educational materials and to instruct 4th grade students in accordance with the district-approved 4th grade curriculum. 5th grade math was taught to 4th grade students from obsolete 5th grade textbook. And the respondent, this is the most important part, I don't know what's on my tongue. The respondent inappropriately touched 4th grade female students. You guys saw that, right? Appropriate administrative action has been taken with regard to the issues substantiated by the investigation. The exact nature of the action taken must remain confidential in accordance with state law. Please. The rumor got out that all they did to him was take away his stipend for him to teach in the after-school program because being that it was a track school, the kids would go to school for like 3 months and they would go off for 3 weeks each season. And so I think they would go off like 3 times a year. And if the kids were at risk for failing, a teacher would go back in that off time and they would teach the kids for that 3 weeks. So it's kind of like summer school, but it was a forced summer school that you had to do because you were failing. So he was one of the teachers that did that, and he got a big stipend annually for this. And they took away his stipend and took away that position for maybe a couple of years, and that was his punishment. They investigated this thing right up to the 12th grade students at the time when Jory was in 4th grade and Joshua was in 6th grade. And a lot of the girls came back saying that this man touched them inappropriately. And I don't know to what degree this man sexually abused these little girls. So I'm telling this story now because my heart is broken over this demon that people claim that God put over us. I don't think God hates us that much that he'll put this demon over us. You know, that he got away with this to the highest office in the land. And this teacher also got away with this because I think he's still teaching at that school. I don't have any kids in that school. If we still live here, when these kids start having grandkids, they wouldn't go to that school. They would go to another one right near here. But it really breaks my heart that, first of all, I did not stand up for the kids in 5th grade when Joshua was in 5th grade. Secondly, we didn't really stand up for that little girl until she came and forced us to. Fast forward later years, the girl is about Joshua's age, between Joshua and Jory's age. So she's probably about 26. She had a baby young, out of wedlock. And they had retained her in 5th grade that year, and she suffered because she looked grown, you know. And in middle school, she was retained the whole time until she got to high school, and then they bumped her up into her correct grade because she wasn't really dumb. She was just emotionally scarred from what this man did to her, and it really breaks my heart. Sometimes I worry about that little girl and I wonder how she's doing. She was such a pretty little girl also. It really hurt my heart that the Mexican parents and the rest of the Hispanic parents did not stand up for their kids. Me and my friend called out the news media. We called Telemundo because we believed they could come and talk to them in Spanish. They kind of run them off the school campus. They called the police to run them off the campus. They didn't know who called, but we were the ones that called. We started to do everything behind the scenes to try to get this man out of there, but we could not succeed. So when Jory started to go to college and he picked up child development and he wanted to be a teacher, I didn't even know why he wanted to be a teacher because he had such a horrible experience with this teacher. But I think it was despite this man's behavior, Jory decided I wanted to make a difference with kids. So he's a teacher hired by the same school district this man works in. And when they were going to place Jory, because he teaches in the after school program, they were going to place him in that school. Jory was excited. He wanted to go to that school that he went to. He said it was because of nostalgia, but I really think Jory wanted to kick this man's ass, okay? But they didn't put him there, and I think that was God sent because I think Jory would have landed in jail. Because if he got there and he saw that that man was still molesting little girls, it would have been heads were going to roll and stuff like that. So he's at a different school. And like I said, I don't even know why I'm sharing this story with you guys, but I found the paperwork when I was cleaning out my drawer over there, and I'm like, I didn't want to tell the story before I had the paperwork.
Because you're tired of garbage men, specifically white men, that are Republican, coming in and trying to dictate to us minorities, us women, about what we should do. You're taking away Obamacare, taking away healthy eating, you're taking away women's rights. What is this idiocracy?
Can you come over here? You don't have to say the whole thing again, but come over here. Did you guys hear what Jada said? She thinks that subconsciously I'm tired of these white men that think they have the right. It's usually 73-year-old white men that think they have the right to tell us women what to do with our bodies. Come a little bit closer, mommy. Don't bump my... Come. The battery to my camera died just now as Jada was coming into the picture out there in the living room. But what she was saying is that probably subconsciously I felt the need to tell the story today because pretty much that's what Trump has done. You know, he's abused women, grabbed them, do what he wants to do, and now he gets elected as president. This teacher did this for a long time. I don't believe he just started doing it when Joshua was in 5th grade. I mean, if they did the investigation and it's right up to the 12th grade girls at the time that were saying, yes, he did this to me. I mean, every year that teacher would select one little girl that looks sad because mom and dad don't pay her any attention. And he would pick her to stay after school to wipe the dry erase board and take her home in his van after school is over, like at 5 o'clock in the evening. God only knows what happens to that child on the way home. And honestly, now that I've told the story, I'm tempted to go find out if he's still really there. Is he still working at the school? Is he still teaching? You know, I'm seeing that we have to become active in things if we want to get things done, you know, in this world. That's why these women marched today. And it wasn't just about, oh, I'm going to go march and get out my frustration. It was about starting something where we can make a change. And I think it's bugged me for quite a few years that I just kind of put my head in the sand and kept my eyes focused. I mean, when all this stuff was going on in 2001, I still wasn't a citizen yet. I didn't get my green card till Christmas Eve of 2002. So you're trying to fight these fights, but you try not to bring a whole lot of attention to yourself also, you know? And I praise God that we raised our kids in such a way that nobody would dare touch them because they know Joe would go to jail. Anybody touch my kids, you know? But I didn't want to share the story until I found that letter because I knew I had it somewhere. And because of the move and everything, it was actually at the shop and I brought it home. And I'm glad I was able to share it with you guys today. And tell me what you think. Should I go open this can of worms? I mean, I'm a citizen now. Should I go open this can of worms and look back into this again? Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next vlog, okay?
When the red button is on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, guys, see, I'm doing it.
This is very, very
He's ready. He doesn't want to go back on the boat. Splash.
So it's splash?
Yeah.